Well, hello everybody. Welcome to P.B.M. Money. Well, today I want to talk about something that has kind of been irritating me for many years, and I didn't know how to address it and do it in a kind way. But today we're going to give it a shot. All right. As you all probably know, Dave Ramsey is very well known for the 7 baby steps to financial freedom. And I've done a video giving my points of view. We're not going to rehash all that. But and the last step of his 7 baby steps is after 10 or 11 years, you'll become wealthy. Okay, in that 10 or 11 years, there's a lot of things that have to happen to get there. You can't just continue to save and become wealthy. You might become rich depending on your income level, but there's a big difference between being rich and being wealthy, and I've given this definition before and I'll give it again. Being rich depends on your ability to perform day in and day out. Being wealthy is dependent on your assets performing day in and day out. Huge difference. So anyway, today I want to talk about what comes after the 7 baby steps if you want to become wealthy. Now, I also recently did a video, can you save yourself to wealth? The answer is no. Even if you saved every dime from every year for the next 40 years, you will not be wealthy. You might be rich, depending on, again, on your income level, but you won't be wealthy because as soon as you die, the money stops. Or as soon as you quit work, the money stops. And now you're going backwards. So, the first thing is you got to make some decisions. Do you after the 7 baby steps, your debts are all paid off, your house is paid off, your car is paid off, and now you need to make some decisions. Do you want to stay where you're at, the quid pro quo, and go live a good life? Because that is a possibility. Do you want to do the quid pro quo but grow just a little bit every now and then just to make yourself feel good? Do you want to go backwards? A lot of people get themselves completely free and a year later they're right back where they were. Look at some of the lotto winners. They're multimillionaires and 10 years later they're living on the streets. And then, do you want to be wealthy? Now, if you want to be wealthy, there are some things you need to do. And there's no mystery here, folks. There's no secret to being wealthy. It's hard work, it's not easy, and not everybody can do it. In the last, I don't know how many years, I've trained several people. Nobody stuck with it. They grew a little bit and then they got tired. It wasn't happening fast enough for them. Now there's one young man I'm helping and he's staying on the line, but he's going very slowly, which is fine. Hopefully he'll pick it up as he gets older. But so that once you make those decisions, so let's say you decide you do want to be wealthy, what do you need to do? And I'm not going to soft coat this. I'm going to tell you just like I told all those other guys. You spend you make a determination in your mind that for the next 10 years, you're going to live like a college student. And if that means eating ramen or eating cold pizza for breakfast or driving a junker or walking everywhere or not buying any clothes, whatever that means, that's how you need to live for the next 10 years. And the reward at the end of 10 years is you won't have to work for anybody ever again if you don't want to. So the younger you are, the more you have at stake. And I just can't make people see that. Because young people today are entitled. They feel like they are owed something. But that's another issue. Now I've broken this down into 3 or 4 or 5 steps. I don't really remember, I haven't counted. But the first step to wealth is you got to save money. Just every penny. You work as hard as you can for as long as you can, get as many jobs as you can. The more income sources you have every day, the better off you are. And in the first 4 or 5 years, your goal should be to buy 4 rental houses. Now, depending on your income level and your debt, assuming your debt is all paid off, you could probably finance all 4 of those little rental houses off of your personal statement. I don't recommend that because there comes a point, no matter how much money you make, where your income to debt ratio is going to catch up with you. So every now and then, I would buy one for cash. Like the first year, as you're starting to save money, I'd finance one. Put 20% down so you're not wasting money on P.M. And continue to save money. Now, from the cash flow from that first property, which should be about $7,000 to $12,000 per year, you add that to your savings. Then the next year, you put 20% down to get your second house. Another $6,000 to $12,000 a year you add to your savings. Now the third year, you try to buy one for cash and continue to save. Then the 4th year or 5th year, you go back and you refinance another, unless you can pay for cash. If you can pay for cash, do that. But if you can't, go ahead and put 20% down and get your 4th rental property. Okay? So now at the end of 5 years, you've got 4 rental properties, and you're probably low on cash, but it'll build very quickly because of the income from the 4 properties. And again, the less you finance, the more cash flow you'll have. As an example, if you finance a $50,000 little rental house, you're gonna have to spend PITI $500 a month, $400 or $500. If you pay for cash, all you're going to have to pay each month is taxes and insurance. $150, $200. That's an extra $300 a month for the life of you owning that, just because you paid cash. That's where you want to be. Now, once you get your 4 rental houses, here's what I recommend you do. You stabilize. And this could take 1 to 2 years depending on a lot of factors, and you'll know when you're there. What do I mean by stabilize? Again, you make sure, there's a lot of rules, and I did a video on the rules for rental properties. But you make sure that each rental property is properly financed. You've got enough money saved, hopefully, to take care of any emergencies. You maintain your properties. The goal here is not to make money. The goal here is to be good stewards. If you take care of what God gives you, He'll take care of the money. So you take care of your properties, you maintain them. You know, I just got done paying a guy $500 or $600 for 3 of my little properties to put on, you know, just to maintain. You know, caulk some windows, clean up the leaves, clean out the gutters, put gutter extensions on, that kind of thing. 3 houses, $600, $700. Well worth it. Well worth it. So in that stabilizing year or two, you make sure you got your feet firm on the ground. You got tenants in there. You got a steady income coming in there. Your properties are being maintained. Your mortgages are all being taken care of and serviced. You've got as much going automatically on as you can. Have your income going into your checking and a certain amount going into savings every month, and then have the bank take the mortgage payment directly out of your checking account every month. That way there's no screw-ups. Stabilize. Give some thought to what you are doing and how you are doing it, and do everything you can to make it stable and firm and well financed. One of the biggest problems with people in any business, including this one, is they try to over leverage and get more instead of taking care of what they already have. Take good care of what you have. If it takes an extra year, okay. But you take care of what you have. Then when you're ready, and you've got all your ducks in a row, you've got an extra year or two of savings because you've been stabilizing, you have not been buying. So you should have 4 properties. So let's say $10,000 a year cash flow from each one. So if you did 2 years, that would be $80,000 just off your properties, plus what you've been saving every month. You see how quickly this is building? So now, the third step is you go through the growth phase again. And this time you buy 1 per year. And you mix them up, finance versus cash. And I would start right out with buying the first one cash, because you should have $80,000 to $100,000 easily sitting in the savings while you're stabilizing that year. So the first house, go pay cash. Then keep saving cash. Second year, depending on how much you've got, I'd probably go finance one if I could. But you go through the same process, and this one's going to take 4 or 5 years also. All right. So we've got growth phase number 1 is 4 to 5 years. You've got the stabilization phase, 1 to 2 years. And then the last growth phase will be 5 years. So what does that come up to? 10 or 11 years. Which is exactly what Dave Ramsey said. Unfortunately, he didn't tell you how to get there. Now, at the beginning of this video, I told you that if you did this for 10 years, you wouldn't have to work for anybody ever again, and you don't. Do the math. At the end of 10 years, you will have 9 or 10 properties and a minimum of $300 per property coming in. If you did it the right way, you should have 2 or 3 times that. But let's just say $300 times 10 properties, that's $3,000 a month you've got coming in cash flow. You can live on that. Now, hopefully, you've done it right. Because in addition to that $3,000, you should have a lot of money set back for emergencies for each property. You should have a healthy savings account, because not only have you been saving, but each property has been contributing to your savings. And instead of buying what you can afford, which would be 2 or 3 houses a year, you've only been buying 1. So now the very last thing you do after you buy your 5th house is you stabilize once again. You go back and make sure with upkeep on all 9 or 10 of your properties. You maintain them. You do the right thing to be a good steward of what God has given you. And this time might take a little bit longer, but in the meantime, you're still saving cash. Nothing changes. You keep saving the cash, and each property you buy contributes to your savings a little bit more. Now, after that phase, you're on your way to becoming wealthy, because you could quit work and live off of that for as long as your assets are performing. But here again, at this time when you're stabilizing, you need to make some decisions again. Do I want to continue to do this? Do I want to quit my full-time job and do this full-time? Do I want to stay in real estate? Do I want to keep my job, take the cash flow from these, and invest in another investment? I mean, there's a myriad of things to do, but you have all of those choices because you now have investment income at your discretion. And money always gives you the ability to do a little bit more, a little bit better. So the answer to what comes after the 7 baby steps is the 4 growth steps. Growth period number 1, stabilization. Growth period number 2, stabilization and decisions. That's what comes after the 7 baby steps. The question is, are you strong enough? Are you determined enough? Are you willing to stick with it? How bad do you want to be wealthy? Because it's no secret, and it's not easy. And that's what this channel has been about from day one. Well, good luck to you. I hope you choose wealth. I hope you pray for the strength and the wisdom to do it, and for the ability to be given to you to go do it, and do it in the right way, and grow wealth. Not just for you, but generational wealth. And this is the path to get there. You guys have a great day, a great week, and happy short and long-term investing.